Good afternoon, good morning in some places, good evening in some other places. My name is Dave Finale, and this is Real Estate Talk TGIF. This is brought to you by the Modern Agents Group, Modern Agent Team here in Northern New Jersey, where we believe that if you experience what we're doing, you're going to want to do more of it. Anyway, today I have someone I call friend that I have had the pleasure of coaching under and just enjoying great conversations and great time with. And the guy that I call the number one sales trainer on the planet, Mr. Bill Pipes. Hey, Bill, how are you, man?
What's up, DF? Good to see you, man. Good to be back. I'm shooting for something, man. I'm looking for never mind. We'll talk about it at the end. So
okay, great. So anyway, we're gonna talk to Pipesy about the selling process, data-driven seller price. We're going to talk about what's going on in his world, some of the changes he's been going through, and how he's been adjusting and shifting. But right now, let's go to a quick video. Hit it, Nelson. Real estate agents, are you looking to acquire clients consistently to grow your business and income for a great lifestyle? Well, this is Dave Finale, and I'm here to bring you the Real Estate Skill Builder broadcast, Real Estate Talk TGIF, brought to you by Real Estate Skill Builder and the Modern Agent Team. Hello again, everybody. This is Dave Finale. I don't want to sound like I am an AM radio announcer, but I kind of did there for a second. I mentioned the Modern Agent Team. We do something called the Modern Agent Experience every Wednesday, where we ask any agents to come in and experience what we do as far as making calls, setting appointments, social engagement, all that fun stuff we do every Wednesday. So if you're interested, go to the modernagentexperience.com. Anyway, Bill, hey, man, you know what? I first saw you probably, I'm going to say about 20 years ago on a small stage in New Jersey where you were recruiting for the, you were recruiting for that as well as Tom's stuff.
Yeah,
and
totally.
you were impressive to me then, and I always wanted to some way somehow coach you. I've coached with some greats, and you're in there, right? Joe Stumpf, number one, Chet Black, yourself, right? So that's a great lineup.
I am humbled to actually be mentioned in those individuals. Like to tell you the truth, man. Like it's with she's now almost 30 years in the real estate space. Like I always used to think, man, those guys at 50 something years old, they're old. Now I'm like, we're the old guys now. You know what I mean? So thank you, brother. I appreciate that.
You're welcome, man. And hey, look, if anybody knows Joe Stump that's listening, tell him he's got to get on the broadcast because he's probably one of the only people that has said no to me. But anyway, I digress. We've got the great Mr. Bill Pipes here. Hey, Bill, you know what? I ask everybody when we get started, what does TGIF stand for?
Thank goodness it's finale again. So
dude, you're right on target. This is beautiful. Thank you so much. I'm impressed. I'm impressed and humbled. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
So, dude, like I said, you've been in this game a long time, and it's really not a game. It's a lifestyle. It's a life, and it's just I'm just really pumped to be here with you and this process that we do every week. This is actually episode 262.
So proud of you.
259th week in a row. Next week we do 60, which will equal 5 years without missing a week.
So incredible.
And it's really special to have you here.
Yeah. I appreciate being like the warm-up act to the big show, man. So I think I like specifically sort of positioned this. I'm like, oh dude, let me see if I can. So I appreciate it. And I'm so proud of you, DF, man, because what you bring to the real estate space is a voice of reason, right? And I think there's a lot of shows that are out there that are hype and sensation and not fundamentally based. And you do a really wonderful job of bringing to us consistently for the last 5 years, all perspectives, but all foundationally proven, man. So
thank you so much, Bill. Thank you so much. I do appreciate that. And I love having locals. I have had local real estate agents on, but let's get to this, right? So I want to tell you, people have heard of Bill Pipes. They've seen Bill Pipes. And some people some people haven't heard of you. So what I would like to do really quickly, if you want, how long you want to talk, I don't care. Your path, man, where you started and how you got to where you are now, because over the last few years, I've seen this guy who is consistently fantastic soar. You never thought you could soar that much, but you did. And it's just really freaking cool, man. So talk to me about your path before.
Sure. So I'll make this as brief as possible. And really, I'm everything that I'm going to lay out is not to impress you; it's just to impress upon you just the background, the history, and you know that if I can do this shit, anyone can. To tell you the truth, GF man. So I came from a small town in Southeast Texas called Kirbyville, Texas. All 1,972 people of the population. My grandfather was military. You can see all the Marine stuff and everything up here. My whole family was military. God bless, those wonderful veterans that have actually made the sacrifices for us to be able to have the freedom that we have. So big shout out to everyone. My mother was a paralegal, right? So I'm going to take you back to how this whole real estate thing came around. She got a real estate license. I watched her struggle. She's badass mofo woman, tigress. I mean, like successful, worked 3 jobs to be able to actually give me choices as a single mom. So, and then she went into real estate and just had a real big challenge and a struggle with it. And, went back to being a paralegal. And that for me, DF was a moment in my life where I looked at, I said, how can this badass, amazing, like freaking insane woman really not get that, connect the dots. And so fast forward to like 4 years later, I randomly met Mike Ferry, right? And so Mike took me underneath his wing. I was doing a PhD program at that time at the University of California at Irvine. And Mike said, I'm going to run an experiment. I'm going to take people that have never sold real estate. I'm going to teach them how to coach. He called it his business planning, business planners. He hired about 6 of us, myself and a whole bunch of my friends. I was the only one that really made it for a long period of time. Funny story, like Mike's ultimate salesperson. He like took me through and qualified me in terms of like a conversation, and then made that offer. And he said, give me 2 years. And that 2 years, DF, has ended up being 30 some odd years. So I point back to, and obviously from that point, took Mike's information, aligned with some of my other buddies. We launched a mortgage company called directlender.com and grew that from 80 people to over 3,000, during the heydays. Started a team in Salt Lake City, ended up selling that team to Mark Robinson and Dave Ranginson. In about 2016, we were operating in about 4 different locations. So have been boots on the ground, have done this both in mortgage and in real estate throughout that entire time though, man. And this is the key. I've had the chance to coach about 120,000 coaching sessions, wow. Right? So it's like 60,000 hours of, but we used to be on the phone, right? Yep. And now it's via Zoom. So, and with great mentors like Mike Ferry, then Gary Keller, partnering with Tom Ferry and his insight that he gave me, the association and the friendship that I have with John Chepp. Like I have been, I think the most fortunate thing that has happened to me is being around really amazing, really smart people and mentors and just surrendering. Like that's the key. Like so many people, bro, like inside this space of real estate training, wanting to be able to actually excel. They say, yeah, man, tell me what to do. And then they push back and they resist. And what I looked at is with Mike, I said, here's a dude. At that time, I was 25 years old. Here's a guy that's driving a Rolls Royce. Maybe I should listen to him. Then I got a chance to go Gary Keller. Here's a guy that's running one of the most successful real estate companies, the most successful real estate company at the time. Maybe I should listen to him. Here's Tom Ferry, the #1 largest real estate coaching company at the time, right? And now, right, still to this day, maybe I should listen to him. Here is Monica Reynolds, who was one of my coach and one of my mentors, who has built this huge team. I want to build a huge team. She was on the floor. I swear. So here's, if there's one bit of advice I could give to everyone that I've learned from all of my mentors is when you request coaching, when you request feedback, when you request input, then surrender to it. Don't push back on it, right? Because they don't want to do anything except for help you succeed when they give you that input in most cases. So.
Yeah, it's, you know what, I talk to real estate agents every day, Bill, and it's like, I don't need coaching, or I hired a coach before and all this other stuff. I know what business they're doing, and it's like almost like they're fooling, I'm sorry, but they're fooling themselves.
Yeah, totally.
Okay. They're fooling themselves. And the most important thing, I think this is one of the most important things I've ever heard you say, is you're going to be around coaches. You need to surrender to what they're doing and just like jump in and, you tell me to jump, and I'll say how high.
Yeah, you got. Could you imagine like someone go to the New England Patriots of their heyday and go, okay, Belichick, I'm on your team, right? And he goes, I want you to do this. He goes, well, no, I think maybe I should do it. Belichick go, get
Let me
the
do it
hell
this
off
way.
the team. Yeah, there is no let me do it this way. And like I can speak for myself. I would love to say that I surrendered completely, but honestly, it took me a little bit of time to be able to recognize the importance of that, right? And it just I don't, I'm 51 right now. I can remember 25 like it was yesterday. I look now, I'm halfway through my life, approximately, right? I don't want to waste any damn time. So when I started working with Chep, and a big shout out to John. I mean, John, like we were on a 40-minute call last night, like here's a guy that arguably should be, should look at me as competition, and he doesn't.
No.
He's coaching me. He's giving me input. He's putting me up. He's helping me, and I mean, that is when I look at someone that I want to emulate in terms of how I'm building my business, it's John Cheplack, man, because he has built his business based upon principles and values, et cetera. Right. And so, like when John says something, I go, shit, here's a guy making a bigger organization, making more money than I am, like in great shape. Proximity is power. Like I just surrendered to what he said last night. I took 3 pieces of advice and I just executed immediately. That's the other piece I would say to you guys too. If we're really digging into this pathway to excellence, because I don't have my list. Where is it? Oh, I hope I can find it. There it is. I'm so proud of this, bro. Look at this right here.
Holy shit.
Yeah, you can't see it, but there it is. These are 29 people right now. 29 people that I've had the privilege of coaching and working with them, they've crossed over the $1 million mark for the first time, or they have added $1 million to their production. And so, when I look at success leaves clues for myself, success leaves clues for these individuals. When I look at this list of 29 and I look at why they are excellent, here's the other piece. Not only do they surrender the coaching and they don't push back or the mentorship or whatever it is, they execute. The gap between getting an idea and executing on it is so small, right? I think of, Tommy Toole over in like I had the chance to coach Tommy prior to $1 million, post $1 million. Dude, here's the thing that I loved about Tom. He would come to the next coaching session and all his shit was done. And I'm like, dude, and I would acknowledge him. I'm like, bro, I really appreciate you getting it. He's like, coach, I'm paying you. Why would I waste any time? What I notice about people that are normal, right, or average or ordinary, is they've got this big gap of execution where it takes them, instead of like a week or 2 days or 5 days or whatever to be able to execute on what someone is giving them as advice, it takes them a month. Right?
Yeah.
There's no urgency in it. So number one, there's this surrendering to the mentorship. Number two is there's a urgency to the execution on it as well too. So.
Yeah, and I want to talk about the execution. I want to talk about just hit John again and you. I've known John, I think 15 years, group coach with him, short time one-on-one. And I will tell you one thing that you have in common with John, and I'm going to put it off to Tom Toole as well, who's also been on the broadcast here. Consistency in message, right? So John has said the same things for 15 freaking years. Right. Your consistency and mode of operation has been the same as well. Sure. And anytime you talk to Tom Toole, or you could go look at a video he did 5 years ago to a video he did last week, consistency throughout with some of the same words. And
even this guy, dude, like for the last, even Mike.
So we use the Mike Ferry scripts in our modern agent experience.
Yeah.
But I will also be honest with you. I say we also use those ones that Bill Pipes gave me. It's sales.
Yeah. Which are adjustments for the market. That
exactly. They're Mike Ferry scripts that are just been, let's say, contemporized.
Yeah,
right.
Totally. Yeah.
That's the way I look at it. But the important thing is, I don't care. There are agents that will tell you that they have that. Why should I had an agent today I talked to said, well, why should I tell you my secrets? I said, secrets? I said, there are secrets in this business? I didn't know that. And she says, well, I don't have time for you. And she hung up on me. Okay. For me, that's a win. Right. And that's the way I look at it. But
that's not a cultural value or principles fit for you in terms of who they are, right? They just vetted themselves out. Thank you very much. And there's some place that person belongs. It's just not with you, right? So
100%. And that's the way I look at it. So I'm on the phone with other agents in the room every day. We're both calling different people, but here's the thing. We're doing lead generation. We're doing it regularly. We're committed to it. And the consistency in what we're doing, sure, we might try different things. And I'm using different methodologies now that are in, kind of in conflict with what I've done over the years. But it's just for me to keep myself fresh and differentiate, but my message is always the same. So here we are, right? We've got these markets that we're working with. And the thing I hear from, I'm going to say 95% of the agents, listings are hard to get. I'm having trouble with this. I'm having trouble with that. But I will tell you that most of these people tell me how busy they are. I don't know what they're doing, but they're busy.
Yeah.
Figure it, right? I'm just posting a video today about my opinion on that. But anyway, that's beside the point. So we've got listings. The listings are out there to be signed and be contracted up. What's the secret, Bill?
So over the course of, I'd say, the last 36 months, I've noticed something about consumers, and that is that they have an infinite amount of information at their fingertips.
Yep.
Right? So much more. And really, it became very clear I think in the pandemic, when we were all like locked up, right? We had not a lot to do for that period of time. We got really good at doing, like, freaking just pouring into information on the internet, what's going on, COVID, not COVID, whatever, right? Like, we just, as a culture, because we were so isolated, we were more online to be able to be connected and also to gain our information. Now, whether that information is true or false, accurate or inaccurate, it doesn't matter. It just was, there's so much more. So what I noticed was the old model of selling, although the fundamentals are the same, this, being able to actually look, there's certain fundamentals. I don't care who you are, you have to follow. Yep. I believe in, and you guys may want to write this down, prospecting based marketing enhanced businesses. I see them being able to actually stand the test of time, to be able to duplicate and scale, right? Is that like you lead and build your business around this foundation, this fundamental of prospecting, but you enhance it with intelligent and elegant marketing to be able to actually accelerate the results that you're getting with your prospecting. There's a lot of people that have it backwards, and there's a lot of trainers out there. They're going to talk to you about do this TikTok video and do this, and it means that you don't need to prospect. Sorry, guys. That's a bunch of bullshit. That's someone trying to sell you something and make it easy. But the reality is, if you want to build a world-class organization or a business for yourself, it's going to demand of you that you're going to have to do an hour minimum, 2 hours preferably, or 3 hours a day of lead generation, whether that's following up on leads, calling your past clients, or whatever, right? And I believe that. Like, I know, DF, sun's coming up in the east. It's going to set in the west. And an agent that prospects an hour a day in this market will survive. 2 hours will have growth and stability. 3 hours, they will have a breakthrough in their business if they do it 200 days a year, and they will experience an abundance of wealth. I know that. Okay.
So I want to add to that really quickly. Jesse Dow, you might know from Channel Junkies. Jesse Dow, if you ask him a question, they do all their business through video and YouTube. I asked him a question. You got to get a listing in 7 days, 1 week, gun to your head. How you going to do it? He says, FSBO's expired.
Totally.
And all he does is video, right? All these, I mean, TikTok's great, but that is support. Prospecting based, marketing enhanced, which is just what you said, right?
Yep.
Because look, we got to have proof of concept. The proof of concept of this is what we're placing on here and what we've got right here.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, I am not a prospecting based marketing like non-existent type of model. Like,
right.
It is, you've got, like, when you go to my Instagram, I'm constantly putting information and education out there for people. Why? But I also have a team of salespeople, and myself included, that are on the phone talking to potential agents that want to become part of our coaching organization, man. So, any great organization has a marketing and it has a sales leg to their organization, both of which are interdependent upon each other. Neither one is independent. So let's go back to this whole piece about listings. Okay.
Yep.
I believe in the style of coaching or the style of sales that has evolved from this awareness that the consumer now at this point has an abundance of information at their fingertips, which honestly is like, there's a quote that says, drink deep or drink not from the Vitruvian wells. A little knowledge is a dangerous thing, right? With all this information, people can craft the story of what they think is happening in the real estate market. In many cases, it's from a YouTuber that doesn't know jack and is trying to be able to work hard at the smoke shop. I'm not sure what that means.
I'm not sure either.
Yeah. Okay. Good. All right. I love it though. Like, I love the little pattern interrupt right there. So
sorry about that.
No, it's okay. So check this out. So the game is this. The game is we have to offset the narrative, the false narrative that the clients are ultimately getting right now, that the consumer is getting from CNN, from Fox Business, from CNBC, from YouTube, from whatever, okay, from the tweets that they're seeing. And I don't care if it's Logan Matashami from Housing Wire, or if it's David Childress from Keeping Current Matters, or Mike from Altos Research. All of these economists are saying the same thing, which is what I say, is that our number one job as salespeople in today's world, in today's market, is to educate the consumer so that they can make intelligent decisions, and to offset the false narrative that the sky is falling and the real estate market is going to hell in a handbasket. Right? That's our number one job. If you want more listings, create certainty by providing data, education-based, data-driven selling. That our goal as a real estate sales professional is to educate our buyers and sellers using data from wonderful sources like Housing Wire, Mortgage Daily News, Keeping Current Matters, Altos Research, so that you can have a non-emotive, non-drama, data-driven conversation so they can make an intelligent decision at that point.
So Bill, go a little deeper here, okay? Go a little bit deeper with the data that we need to use from these sources. I mean, Keeping Current Matters is probably, it's the easiest for everyone to use. And I tell you what, I've been using it since, I can't even remember when it first came out. I started using it. So talk to me about what data should be used. Simple examples.
Sure. Well, you're going to need to have two different segments. Okay. Number one is you need to know the national real estate data and the national real estate trends. Why? Now, the national real estate trends is what's happening to inventory nationally. I can tell you right now, if I were going to get on a phone with a buyer, right, or a seller, because keep in mind that anywhere from 72 to 85% of all sellers are also buying, right? According to the National Association of Realtors. Okay. So people say, how do you get that seller off the fence? Well, you get the seller off the fence because you talk to them about the impact of them being able to buy and it's going to have in the future. I can say to a buyer that says, hey, we think we're going to have more options in the future to be able to buy a home than we do now because the market's going to slow down. And say, well, wonderful. Where did you get that information? I'm curious, where'd you get that information from? Okay. And then I can tell them, watch, do you realize, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, and this is accurate data, that in January 2022 or 2023 versus 2022, we had 70% more inventory nationally the beginning of 2023 than we did in 2022. No, I didn't know that. Can I share with you where we are in May? Sure. We're at 16%. So we've shrunk from 70% to 16% surplus in inventory year over year. Do you know what's projected? No, I don't, Bill, the real estate agent. In July, we're projected to be in a deficit for the first time in quite some time, which means we're going to have less inventory in July nationally in 2023 than we did in 2022. This data has actually come from Altos Research, and it is easy to track, right? What does that mean for you as a buyer? It means that every single month that you wait, there's less and less inventory to choose from. Now, I give them the national perspective and I say, well, David, that's nationally. Can I share you what's happening here locally for us in Salt Lake City? Last month, we had X number of new listings come to the market. This month, and we had X number of sales. We had 500 new listings. We had 600 sales. Do you know what's happening right now, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer? That means every month we're seeing inventory decrease, at least in the last 30 days, by 100 to 200 listings. So you waiting, if you have less, if we see this happening, what happens by December? Okay. So that is one of the key data sets, is to show inventory levels. The other is to actually show what's happening with pricing. But keep in mind, pricing is a lag indicator. And a lot of people put attention on pricing, but I'm going to put attention on the lead indicators. One of the other lead indicators I think is so important is mortgage applications. No one talks about this. Now, I want you guys to understand something. And David, feel free to jump in at any time on this, man. Right, guys? When I start using this information, this data, this is shit that nobody is talking about as a real estate agent. Most agents are asked, well, I think I'm going to wait. What do you think? Well, it's going to be a little bit more of an aggressive market, and it occurs as their opinion versus it being statistically driven facts.
Right.
Why is that, DF, so critical? Because if it's your opinion, they think I'm going to push back on this because, of course, this is a real estate agent that wants a commission and wants me to move forward. If I give them the data, what I have to believe is this: an educated and motivated consumer will always make more intelligent decisions. Now, you got to have two key words there. My job is to educate them. Their job is to be motivated or not. My job is not to motivate them. Either they're motivated or they're not. Why do we prospect 1, 2, 3 hours a day, DF? To find the motivated.
Right? Exactly.
Instead of trying to take someone who's not motivated and think there's some special unicorn rainbow script that I can use that's going to create motivation. No,
there isn't. And your education and what you're bringing out is going to fuel whatever motivation they had, and say, oh shit, okay, they're going to have oh shit moments, and say, okay, I get it. And then they're going to lean in more.
Yep. They're going to trust you. They're going to respect you. Will have positioned yourself as a knowledge broker, right? So whether it's Childress, whether it's Mike Keeping Current Matters, Logan, right, of Housing Wire, all of these gentlemen are saying the same thing. It is the agent that is committed, that is educated themselves and can turn around and present the data and the information to their buyers and sellers that's going to win the game. That's the world of real estate sales. It is an education-based, data-driven, right, type of process, which is what I teach. So,
right. And here's the really important part about this is we can talk about 2023. I mean, yes, the specific data that we're talking about is current, right?
Yep.
But the whole process of education-based, data-driven selling it isn't changing, and it
doesn't
really
change.
never
It's going to
did.
be useful in 2024. It's going to be useful in 2020. It's evergreen, right? Based upon the consumer right now. This is something that when the market was going backwards, I really started to lean into, because I said, people aren't getting it, right? That the change is coming. I was off. I was on my projection. I was off on my timing. I thought that we were going to see the market correction at the end of 2021. And then all of a sudden that December 2021 just shot up like a cannon. It just went crazy. But the market shifted, and because I'm constantly studying. Now, this is something I would say to everyone that's listening right now, my friends, is take 10 to 15 minutes a day and go to Keeping Current Matters, Housing Wire, Altos Research. Go to YouTube, right? Subscribe to Altos, subscribe to Keeping Current Matters, subscribe to Housing Wire, to their YouTube station. It's free, right? And just like I was on the treadmill today, you can see it on my story. And today was like a light, like I was walking, right? Because yesterday was a heavier run. And for 27 minutes, guess what I'm doing? I'm educating myself to be able to have intelligent conversations or reinforce conversations or data that I have, so that I can turn around, share it with all my coaching clients, who then subsequently share it with their buyers and sellers. Well, you as an agent, you just cut me out of the loop and just go straight there, and you get the information. And then when you're convinced, this is like one of the other cornerstones for me is Mike Ferry said something to me years ago, and it just stuck with me. And we're talking to one of our speakers named David. And David was a very, very good, you know David Long. I think do you remember David Long? So does that name ring a bell? David, a great speaker, very like matter of fact. And Mike said to him, he goes, we should have the conversation with David. I said, what conversation is that? He said, the conversation about it's impossible to be inspiring if you're not inspired, right? I will say this, it's impossible for you to be convincing if you are not convinced. And the way that you get convinced is by education, because that knowledge gives you confidence. That's why I believe that anyone that I coach can go on a call, or that's using this can go on a call with a buyer or seller, be convinced because they've got the data. And that changes the outcome of the conversation because they're backing up with data, but their tone is different. You know, I know tone. Tone is different. Their body language is different. Their level of influence is higher because of the knowledge and the confidence that they have in the belief. So
absolutely. And if you're, it's just like anything else. Like being you mentioned the Patriots. You can mention any sport. Being a student of the game itself is what's going to build your business a lot quicker and a lot consistently, right? Being a student of the numbers, being a student of knowing what the markets have done, right? I mean, I've been through a couple of different markets since being in this business since the early 80s and before. I know I've seen it happen, I mean, I was wrong in my prediction for the last couple of years. But then again, I mean, this is all new to everybody else. It's not like any other situation we've ever experienced. But one of the things I do know, Bill, is that if I keep working and keep generating leads and working my business with follow-up and stuff, I'm going to be fine. Right?
You're going to win. You'll win. Period.
Without question. It's oh yeah, you talk to agents. Oh yeah, I make the calls. Oh, okay. Tell me about your schedule. And it's the same thing. I mean, you've got to have the information in order to do the work. You just can't pick up the phone, right?
Yeah. It is like this list of 29. I can go down. I can go Candace Decker, prospected 2 to 3 hours a day. Tom Toole, before he became and stepped into leadership, prospect for 2 to 3 hours a day. Robert Mack, prospected 1 to 2 hours a day. Greg Cummings, 1 to 2 hours a day. Jessica, Kofi Narte, like all these individuals that I personally coached that broke the million, they did not get there by not prospecting. They were consistent and congruent at least an hour a day, right? And that's when I just really, my goal, the mission that I have in my life as a business professional right now, and really codified over the course of the last probably I'd say 2 years, 24 months, is I am committed. This list is 29. Okay. I'm committed that this list in the next 10 years, the purpose of our G3 coaching and Coach Pipes, our mission is 1,000 agents that we personally have coached that have gone over $1 million or increased by $1 million in terms of their top line GCI. And I won't rest until that shit happens. It is an obsession for me, right? It is something I'm committed to. And in order to do that, I had to codify and synthesize what these guys did. So they have a strong mindset. Yes. Do they know the market? Yes. Are they prospecting every day? Yes. Do they do video? Yes. Right. Do they have a team? Varying degrees. Yes. Have they had to upgrade their leadership? Yes. Do they work on their mindset and their personal psychology every day? Yes. Are they highly skilled in terms of their conversations? 100% yes. So I just look at this list and I go, guys, success leaves clues, and whatever you want, like, it's right there. You just need to surrender.
But you talked about success in their conversations, and does that mean practice? Does that mean knowing your scripts? I mean, and let's talk about that individually, because people, they say, well, I'll just say whatever comes to my mind. Talk to me, conversation. Talk to me about the conversation piece of prospecting, because that's something that I think is not understood by most agents. We're not talking about your list at all.
No. So watch this. If you were going to play on a professional team, you would be a new football player that comes in as a rookie to a team. They are given the playbook, right? And they are expected to memorize that playbook. Why? Because those are the plays that the team wants to run, plays that work, right? If you were going to be a pilot, you would be given a manual that says, this is your checklist. This is what you need to do to be able to actually fly this plane, to make sure that there's safety and you minimize the opportunity for loss. In football, you minimize the opportunity for the maximize the opportunity to get in the end zone and minimize the opportunity for someone else to get in the end zone against you in defense. You can go through every single type of high level business, and what you're going to get is you're going to get some type of scripting in some shape or form. My goodness, even the presidents of the United States, whether it's Trump or Biden or either one of the Bushes, what do they have? They have those clear glasses that are over here. And what are they doing? They're reading. Where did presidents get in trouble? Is when they stop reading the glass and they
100%.
start winging it, like I can tell you right now, and this is not a political good, bad, right, or wrong.
Right.
I want you guys to understand this. It's just observing people who can be influential or screw up. One of our previous presidents, who I will not name, got his butt handed to him every single time that he got off script, right? And people were like, had he not done that, I guarantee you probably would have gotten elected a second term, right? But it's like when you get off your playbook, like if you're a professional athlete, you look at what they get paid, okay? Whether it was Brady, whether it's Ronaldo. I think Ronaldo, like Messi just signed some ridiculous, thing.
Miami.
Yeah, like at Miami. Ronaldo signed a huge one in somewhere like Saudi Arabia. They're plays. They run playbooks. How do you get paid like a professional athlete? You practice like one. And in real estate, our practice in most cases, guys, listen to me. You're doing it on your clients. And when you're doing it on your clients, it's costing you business and money. When you do it in a 10 to 15 minute role play every single day, but coach, I already sell 25, 30 homes a year. So you're telling me that when Michael Jordan won championship number 5, he said, I think I'll blow off practice coming up this next year.
Yeah.
No. That became a reason behind why he actually increased that year number 5 to year number 6. You want to get paid like a pro, you got to practice like a pro. If you practice like a pro, you'll perform like a pro. Okay.
Yeah, for me, for the practice, for the role play, and thinking a little bit differently, just was yesterday. Me and my partner Sekou, we went through a script. I said I didn't want to talk to a certain type. Yeah. He says, well, I think you need to change that. I think you need to change that attitude around. And this is the script. And we went and role played the script for 10 minutes. I said, holy shit, I missed that.
Yeah.
Right. It doesn't matter how long you've been in the business or how short a time you've been in the business. You're not going to see other perspectives. You're only going to see the agreements you made with yourself over the years about scripts and about talking to people and about the trepidation that you have about picking up this 700-pound phone.
Totally. Yeah. Dude, it's been 2016, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 7 years, 6 years since I've sold my team, right? Hi, thanks again for having me over. I'm excited about getting your home on the market and getting it sold. Do you mind if I take a quick look at your home? I wrote down 3 real important questions for you. Number 1, do you absolutely have to sell this home? Number 2, you're willing to price your home to sell. Number 3, do you want me to handle the sale for you? At the end of my presentation tonight, one of 3 things will happen. Number 1, you'll have the opportunity to list your home with me, which I hope you do. Number 2, you'll decide not to list your home with me. Number 3, I'll decide not to take your listing. The 3 is fine. Let's quickly take a moment and review the questions I asked you over the phone. You said you're moving to blank. You said you had to be there by blank. You weren't thinking about selling yourself. Now, you did want to get X amount out. Okay. Now, there's really only 2 issues that we have to look at tonight. Number 1 is your motivation to sell this home. And number 2 is the price you're selling your home. There's the 2 issues in selling real estate. Do you know how buyers determine value? Buyers determine value by comparison shopping. They look at the features and benefits of your home and they compare it to the features and benefits of home that's sold versus that are currently on the market. Does that make sense? Right? That right there that's been 7 years since I've used that sucker. For those of you that don't know, that's the listing presentation that I learned years ago from Mike Ferry that I continue to use in my own business, man. But it's ingrained in me. Why? Because I knew that, and here's the key, and I think if everyone could just adopt this thought, the scripts are an outline.
Yes.
They are not they're a framework inside of which you can dance. Like a great jazz musician who learns chords, right? Or learns scales on the piano. You're not doing that so you just stay in chords and scales. It's so you can riff. But all that riffing, if you ever watch a great jazz trio or band or something, Anna, my significant other, and I were at a jazz restaurant, and I'm like, they're just playing different chords back and forth and different things. They're just playing off each other, but it's still the fundamentals of the script, right? So it's a framework. It's not to be meant to be like robotic.
Yeah, and what you're talking about in music is in jazz and blues is the 12-bar blues chords, right? I mean, even the Beatles, I mean, one of the songs on Let It Be, they said there's the 12-bar blues. In the song, they said it. So it's the same thing. It's been that way for years and years, and it's going to continue to be the same.
Continue. Yeah.
The important part about the script that you just rattled off from memories, first of all, we do that every day.
Yeah.
Right. So it's something that I'm just like in awe listening to you do that. and just we do that every day. But here's the thing, guys, is that you can start out if you're uncomfortable, you start out like a robot, but then talk like a human after that. And that's how the comfortability comes. Be yourself. As you said, Bill, they're a guide.
They're a guide. That's all they are.
They're a guide. And you know, everybody, here's the biggest mistake I think most agents make. Correct me if I'm wrong. They start talking. They start making statements, right? And the most important thing I tell new agents and experienced agents every day is, look, if you're going to make a statement, it's about you. If you're asking questions, it's about them. It's always got to be about them. And everything you said in that script had to do with a question about what they needed.
That's right. 100%. And you know, I look at that like, the purpose, like if I'm a driver personality, which I am, right? What a outline does for me of a dialogue is it makes sure that I'm asking the questions that I need to the client, because honestly, the higher D or the driver personality is like, we would love to walk in and just go, hi, I'm Bill, sign the contract, right? Like that's the extent of the presentation that we'd want to do. Or, hey, I'm Bill, hop in the car, let's write an offer on this property. So for us drivers, those of you that are like, if you're a driver, you know, or high D, you probably know it, right? It allows us it forces us to connect with the client. If I'm a higher I, which is much more expressive, right? Okay. Then what it does is make sure that I don't spend all my time talking about myself, as is very common for an I personality style. Right. For the S, which is the more amiable, right, personality profile, what the script or dialogue does is it allows to make sure that you're asking direct questions and ultimately closing, because the S doesn't want that conflict of even the should we go ahead and work together. And for the C, right, who is like busy thinking, that's the analytical thinking about what should I say or not, it gives you the framework and an outline so you don't have to overthink and you can just get on the phone. There's benefits to every single personality style, to whatever dialogue it is or script you're going to follow. I don't care if it's mine, Mike's, Tom's, John's, Joe's, Brian's, freaking, you know, like, I don't care what script you use, just grab one and get it down, period. Because chances are any of ours is going to be better than you winging it for yourself.
100%. I mean, you know, I love the people. I give you a quick example. Someone says, well, I don't like scripts. And I said, well, what do you do? And they said, well, I say this.
That's your script.
That's the script.
Yeah, that's right. Everything's
a script that we see every day. Go to the doctor's office. You got a script. You're going to hear a script. The assistant's going to ask you questions. You're going to come in. The doctor's going to come in, look at those questions, those answers, questions. He's going to ask you a different bunch of questions, the same question. It's a script.
Yeah.
Right. They're used everywhere. So please, you're not better than everybody else. Hey, Bill, talk to me about what you got going on with G3 coaching and how you're rocking shit these days.
So we, as many people know or don't know, for those of you that don't know me, I have always run a really great general, but never been the president. What does that mean? It means that for Mike, I was a great number 2, right? For Tom, really good, like excellent number 2. Chep, you know, like, and finally I got to a point where I was sitting there, bro. And I was just like, Anna and I were having dinner one night. And I just was looking at like, and we're having this conversation about when you're on your deathbed, you know, what, is there anything that's going on that you haven't done that you would regret? And I was like, no, I don't. And then it hit me. I'm like, dude, if I don't launch my own coaching company, I'm going to go to my grave. And that's going to be the thought of fudge, man. That's the one thing I didn't do. And why wasn't I doing it? It's the same reason that a lot of people that are listening to this don't take the risk. Oh my gosh, what if I fail? And what if whatever? And then all of a sudden I was just like, you know what? No, it's time. And God bless John Cheplack, because he took me aside on February 17th, said, dude, time for you to go do your thing. This is your time, dude, go. And so now what we have done is we have, I've taken all the years of experience that I've had in coaching other coaches of other companies, and the 120 some odd thousand coaching sessions, the 60,000 hours devoted to it, everything, and aligned it around the vision, the mission that we have of, we don't work with everyone, David. Like, we don't want to work with everyone. We want to work who our avatar is, if you're listening, is that 150 to 300 or $500,000-$600,000 producer, right? In terms of top line GCI, that wants to break $1 million. I believe personally, and my coaches, I believe it as well too, that if you're going to play the game of real estate, damn it, you should be playing it for 7 figures. If you're going to be taking time away from your family, really what we're talking about is, in most cases, 70 to 100 transactions. If you're not going for 70 to 100 transactions, I think you're playing small and undervaluing what it is that this industry can provide for you. So our entire system and model is built around, if you're at $1 million, how do you add $1 million? If you're not to $1 million, how do you get there? So we've got, we got a new course that's coming up in July called, we're going to launch at the beginning of July. It'll start at the end of July. It's called Sell Like a Millionaire, which is an 8-week course teaching people the fundamentals of this, of how to be able to convert at a higher level, how to be able to present, the NLP techniques and tactics and strategies, the power of your schedule, how to be able to follow, all basically like the foundational pieces of what it takes to be able to actually be on the pathway to 7 figures or $1 million. We got our sales power course that's November 6th, the 7th, and the 8th, which is a 3-day intensive boot camp, all about, you've been there, scripts, dialogues, like there's nothing like it on the planet, right?
No, there isn't.
Yeah. And then obviously next year, we got a lot more events that are going to be taking place as well too. So, and then our coaching, obviously, that we do, our one-on-one coaching with, all of our coaches. This is, how we're really unique at this level of coaching is all of our coaches have earned $1 million. They don't coach for us unless they've actually walked the walk. They've been coached and they're doing it. So, and I will say this, whether you're getting coached or not, one of the things I want everyone to recognize is, if you're going to go for this path of excellence, you got to get ready for some stuff. You're going to work harder than you've ever worked in your entire life. And no one is, the only person that ever told me that was Mike Ferry, right? He said, what is your goal? Why do you want it? And what's the sacrifice that you're willing to make? And so when I say work harder, you're going to be in a startup mode, regardless of where you are, for probably a good 18 to 24 months, where you're going to have to make some sacrifices and push hard. But then it opens up. You're also, DF, you're going to be lonely. Because when you're on that pathway to success, man, there's not a lot of other people that are going to understand the hours, the time, the energy, the effort that you have to put in. And you'll get, I don't know, DF, did this ever happen to you? People go, why are you working so hard?
Yep.
Where all of a sudden you're like, hey, I'm going for a big goal, and you got this big target on your back now at this point. So you got to be prepared. A, I'm going to work really hard for a couple of years, setting everything up, right? B, people aren't going to understand it. And C, I was just talking to Chep last night about this. Because I'll let you guys inside. I have those moments, right, where I'm like, fuck, man, can I really do it? Just like every single person out there. Look, that's a big goal. 1,000 millionaires in 10 years. That means I have to be able to generate and work with people who are going to 100 per year, right? I got a list of 29, man. That's a big, hairy, audacious goal. And I was talking to Chep. I'm like, bro, did you ever have doubt? He goes, all the time. Even to this day, it is. And probably, do you ever go through that as well too, man? Where you're just like, oh shit, man. So
yeah. I typically like to call it imposter syndrome. Yep.
Yeah, totally. And I think most successful individuals have a little bit of that going on as well too. So you're going to go through doubt and concern, and am I making the right moves? And here's the big one: you're probably going to fail more than you succeed. And you've got to, my friends, this is me talking to me, not just you, right? Again, these are conversations I have with people that I love and care about, and who are my contemporaries, like John and Tom and everyone else. Is if you can embrace failure as your greatest feedback loop, and that they're really, do you remember this, DF? there is no failure, only feedback exists.
Yep.
If you can begin to look at the failures as the greatest learning lessons and opportunities for growth, and that everything that you need to do to progress to the next level is wrapped inside this thing that we call failure, then the failure is the thing that you celebrate the most, because it is the transformational process of you moving to the next level.
Yeah. And you said it with those 3 questions. What's your goal? Why do you want it? And how hard are you willing to work for it?
What's your sacrifice? What's your sacrifice?
Yeah. Hey man, this has been like one of the quickest broadcasts ever.
Oh, shit, man. Yeah, we're there.
I want to thank you so much for being on. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. We don't get a chance to do that often, but when we do, we will. Listen, I got one question for you, and then one other thing. How do I help you grow your business?
I think just giving me a chance to be able to speak to all of you guys today. I'm so grateful and humbled, DF, to be back again on this. I really am. Look, guys, if you're interested in 7 figures, like, we want to be in the foxhole with you, right? But we're not I'll tell you, DF, just like I was talking to my coaches this morning, we're not for everyone. I want to be very clear. You know what I mean? Like, we are not for everyone. We are for that person that's like, dude, I'm willing to work. I'm willing to actually, like, I understand that I'm going to prospect. I understand that I'm going to expect my team to prospect. If you're willing to work, we got the system, man. And I have zero doubt within 18 to 30 months, we can get anybody that does the work to $1 million or more. So if you're interested in that, dude, reach out to us, right? Be an inquiry, right? David, just giving me the chance to say that, right, to everyone allows me to fulfill upon my purpose, which is to make as many millionaires on this planet as we possibly can inside the space of real estate. And I love you for that, man. I appreciate you.
God bless you, my friend. Hey, look, you know what? I know you got one, but you wanted to get another one.
I want another one, baby. Yeah. Why do you think I came on today, dude?
So listen, everybody, next week's a big broadcast. It is the 5 years. It is 5 years, 5 weeks, 260 weeks in a row. That's 5 years, guys. And we've got my personal good friend and marketing genius, Grant Wise, as my special guest next week.
Grant's
and I want to thank you, Bill. If you can stay on for 1 minute as we go off. Thanks so much to you all next week. At Coach Pipes on Instagram and CoachPipes.com, CoachPipes@gmail.com. So I give you all the information. See you next week. Hit the video, Nelson.